Hello and welcome. My name's Martin Corcoran. I'm the Managing Director of Summit and we are change makers in retail. We're a dedicated performance marketing agency with 20 years history behind us working within retail. I'm really pleased to be joined by Chris Nightingale, Performance Marketing Manager at AO, and we're going to have a bit of a chat about the trends and the comings and goings within performance marketing recently and try and give all our audience and listeners some top tips for how they can deliver even better results, better returns, and get more from their teams.
Hello, I'm Chris Nightingale. I'm Digital Acquisition Manager for the UK at AO.com. I kind of look after PPC, SEO, affiliates, that sort of thing. My world very much revolves around demand and meeting that consumer demand. How do we really make sure that all the stuff that we're selling at AO reaches the people who need us most?
Fantastic. And what I guess you're very experienced, and you're certainly, AO one of the very best retailers out there. What are two, to give us a sense of in your professional history, the two or three big things that have really changed the game for you?
I think for me, it's really just relying on the tech and letting the tech do a lot of the heavy lifting. So I think back in the day of performance marketing, there's probably, I'm not the only one where, you're spending hours doing reporting and you're crunching away at the numbers and you almost you don't take that step back and think of the bigger strategic picture. Who do I want to target? When do I want to target them? What sort of messaging will really make me look better than competition? So to really let the tech take control of the day-to-day numbers will allow you to kind of take that step back and kind of just do the thing that your customers really want you to do and get in front of their eyes when they need you to the most. I think for me, though, that the thing that's changed massively over the last couple of years is all about the consumer demand. People want things quicker than they ever have done before. They want things at the best price that they ever have done before. But more importantly, and I think where AO kind of differentiates, is they want that best-in-class service. They want, service with a smile. They want it on a day that suits them, even at a time scale that suits them. So for us to be able to sort of highlight those messages and making sure we're bringing that out in our advertising is absolutely crucial.
Absolutely. I think AO are certainly renowned for providing that fantastic customer experience. And at Summit, we always talk about how do you replicate that great experience that customers have learned to love over the last 10, 20, 30, 40 years offline and bring it online. Can you give us a sense of, how important that is for AO and also how you're bringing it to life, how you really are over-delivering on that customer experience?
Yeah, it's a really important question. It's something that's on our minds kind of every day when we're thinking of performance marketing as to how we can make things go better. And I think it all boils down to the fact that we always think about, if we made a decision, at the end of the day, would it make our nans proud? That is bottom line rule one, kind of what we do, whether that be in my world in marketing, whether that be, the people who are picking the products, that be the guys who are actually delivering it. So it's kind of no matter which direction you look at, it all depends on would you be comfortable with those decisions. And I think for us, it's just about being bigger and better and bolder in the decisions that we're making. So, if we're looking at budgets and things like that, making sure we squeeze every last penny out of it in my world, making sure every pound delivers the maximum amount of ROI. I'm really just getting into that nitty gritty because at the end of the day, if, numbers are just numbers, but we need to take a step back and look at the strategic outlook of what really makes customers tick.
And you talked a little bit earlier about, the principle of kind of targeting keywords and the evolution to kind of targeting customers. I think we've seen some quite, significant developments within performance marketing in that area. Where are AO on that journey in terms of being able to target and speak directly to specific customers?
I think we've come a long way over the years. As a lot of people have in the retail world, it's massively important that, as you quite rightly say, it's keywords are still very, very important, but more and more, especially with AI and automation, it's more about the person that sits behind that keyword rather than just the keyword itself. The keyword can only tell you so much about a person, whereas if we know about the person themselves, how often they've been on site, do they like premium products, where are they in the world, all of these different segments. If we get a best picture that we can of that person, we can deliver them a product that we know they're really going to like, as opposed to they might like because they've searched for silver washing machine, let's say. So yeah, it's massive, and it's obviously a more complex problem when you start to look at the fact of, the cookieless world that we're navigating into, and it makes it a little bit more difficult to steer where the future ship will be. But, I think AO, particularly within my world, it's always trying to be on the front foot and understanding how do we get to that end goal? And I know a lot of people, hence why the fact Google have pushed back that cookie date is because a lot of people aren't there yet. But I'm really keen to know how we can get there today, if not tomorrow, and then what that'll mean for us and what that'll mean for our customers.
Yes, I was just going to talk about, we've been through a period of unprecedented change in terms of, both personally and at home and lockdown and COVID, but also professionally within retail, within performance marketing. Can you give us a sense and give us some perspectives as to how you personally and the team found the COVID period and coming out of the COVID period, hopefully, and also how AO as a business have fared within that?
I think for us, what we really realised from the get-go is that obviously 100% of the market went online, and people that would normally shop at stores, all of that demand went online. So naturally, we saw kind of big numbers in the people that were searching Google, that were searching Bing, that were kind of advertising to on Facebook, that sort of thing. And it was quite interesting because we saw a real shift in the products that we sold as well. So when we first went into lockdown, everyone wanted fridge freezers and freezers and, places to kind of store their food when they were going out to the supermarkets and kind of buying in bulk. And we definitely saw that. But then it kind of plateaued, everyone was working from home and everyone needed a laptop, and then everyone got bored at home and everyone wanted a new TV. So we really kind of saw that shift, and we had to keep on top of these trends. It was really interesting because as soon as we saw a new trend emerge, we wanted to be there. We wanted to take advantage of that opportunity and not just let the natural search volume pick up and give us a few extra sales.
I know you're a big advocate of test and learn, which is obviously so essential in performance marketing and so available within performance marketing. Give us an idea in terms of, so you're COVID hits, we're seeing huge surges in terms of online demand. And AO traditionally, pure play, probably better able to respond to online demand than some other maybe omnichannel retailers. But can you just break it down in terms of, you see a huge surge in terms of a new keyword, a new category, whatever it may be. How do you go about unlocking enough budget to make sure that you can really service that demand and and you don't miss a single sale?
At the end of the day, I always just back it up with numbers. If I can prove to senior stakeholders and I can prove to my manager that this extra investment is going to drive additional this much revenue with the best forecasting tools that I have available to me, then it'd be difficult for them to say no if I can really show that and then go and deliver it. Then if I can show them again and deliver it again, then the confidence is there that we can do that. And it's all about being aligned with the other parts of the business as well. So I can spend a load of money, but actually the people that are buying these products in won't know that I've done that. So it's all about really strong communication with every single part of the business, from promotions to marketing to the delivery guys to the warehouse. Absolutely every part of the business needs to be singing in that same hymn sheet.
And obviously, I mean, we experienced this with some of our clients. We went into an unprecedented period where actually forecasting became really hard because your historical data had absolutely or very little reference points because behavior had changed so much. And, we're very lucky because in our industry, in performance marketing and particularly search marketing, there is a wealth of data. Again, can you just share for our audience out there, what tools and what data points are you turning to unlock the kind of budgets that you need and get your directors' confidence? Because again, I'm assuming you're not pitching for a couple of grand here. You're probably pitching for a couple of $100,000, which becomes quite a substantial amount of money.
I think the best way we use, I think I've mentioned, is that Google Trends, being able to understand, right, what does it look like versus yesterday, versus last month, versus last year, who's searching for it, what sort of things they're searching, and then going into the keyword planner as well and actually identifying what am I going to pay for that, who else is potentially doing a few live searches, who else is bidding there, and just being able to understand that keyword landscape is really important. Obviously, I'd always say then never forget Bing. Bing is kind of the underutilized child of PPC, but it can really deliver that extra 10% at maybe a cheaper CPC if you get the right audience, because it's not as competitive. So whenever you're kind of looking for that additional budget and trying to prove it, don't just look at Google, look at Bing as well, because that is definitely a useful tool.
And another question on those trends, because again, I put ourselves in the experience of Summit's clients, and hopefully we're there to give them the guidance and the direction and be able to say, actually, here's a trend, or here's a channel, or here's an audience group that we really think we should test and be a part of. I know AO do a lot in-house. How are you staying on top of the latest trends, the latest channels? Do you have really strong relationships with the advertising platforms, for example?
Yeah, definitely. I think we have to. I think we have to know everything that's going on within those respective platforms. A lot of companies, a lot of these platforms as well, will kind of trial with the betas and the tests and the alphas across different parts of the world. So really important that you have really close communication and sort of saying, putting your hand up first and saying, I want to try that beta before anyone else because it could be the next best thing, and you're going to be first to market and know how it works before anyone else. So yeah, having really close communication is great, and also that really helps when things aren't going in your favor. You have those teams that are internal to help you actually fix it, but external to go with the support, because a lot of cases these are all self-serve platforms. It's all literally you clicking those buttons. So to have that additional support externally, which is for all intents and purposes free, you're not paying any extra to get that, is yeah, definitely important.
There is a big trend towards in-housing, and actually that means when I talk about in-housing, it's quite different for different brands. Okay, some it just means working more closely with their agency, with more managers on house. Other brands and retailers want to manage absolutely every channel and have very limited contact with agencies. How are AO doing it?
I think it's kind of a mix across the board. So I used to work for both agency and in-house roles in my past lives, and there is really a mix everywhere I've been. So there are parts of departments within the business that might have the in-house team but still rely on agency for project work. I think one thing that AO and a lot of retailers should be doing is flexing on where they need that support. So you've probably seen as well over the last year, it's been really difficult to get digital marketing people in roles, and there's been so many roles out there. So, and I'm sure you're fully aware of that. So, does that mean that more people need to be relying on freelancers? Does that mean more people need to be relying on agencies to get that work done? And maybe there's a gap for agencies there to say, hang on, I can provide this training or temporary solution that builds into something more. So it is, I'd say we're flexible like most companies should be.
I think there's definitely something to be said for the expertise that agencies bring. A large pool of talent, sharing experiences and knowledge across clients being one. And then also being able to upweight and downweight at peak times. And we know seasonality, particularly in retail, is such an important thing. You've got to be able to make the majority or 30, 40, 50% of your sales come peak, and then you've got to be able to maximize Easter and all your events and so forth. And that really is, from my experience, that's where agencies should start to be playing the expertise part, bringing their retailers up to speed and providing training and all the things, the core skills that the retailers and brands needs to really unlock the as is business as usual sales, but then providing I guess the ability to upweight and downweight depending upon the opportunity, because there are so many sales to be had, and what you don't want is to put the brakes on a big opportunity that could land significant sales in your business.
Absolutely. I think one thing I've learned in my career is that I always need to be upskilling myself, and sometimes there's an agency that's got this super special gadget that they already have, and no one else has it. So for me, it's always about finding what those golden nuggets are, how I can make the most of them, but then also learning myself and seeing if I can do it in the future or come up with a similar concept, because a lot of what agencies do are mind-blowing, some of the stuff that they can come up with, and they've done because they've worked with multiple clients within a similar field. But I'm very passionate about learning, and Google, Facebook, they all offer kind of their own learning platforms, but you're only really going to learn if you go into them and try it yourself.
We touched earlier on the idea of social commerce and some new channels becoming available. Which new channels have been most successful for AO? Or it doesn't have to be new channels; it can be kind of betas or whatever you want. Which new things have been most successful for AO over the last year or two?
I think the core marketing channels that a lot of retailers should invest in are kind of your standard PPC, SEO, affiliates. That sits within my world. They're the main three channels I look after, and those three are the ones that have kind of helped us deliver. They're the ones that are very scalable, and they're the ones that you can kind of rely on as well if you need an extra little boost, or if you need to maybe get more brand visibility across a certain range. They've definitely been more useful. I think in terms of betas, one thing I really like the look of it is, and I know it's probably out of beta now, but how do we look at kind of in-store availability? So AO has kind of recently, we're trialing AO stores now in I think 5 Tesco stores. So being able to kind of join up the dots between online and offline is definitely, it's not a beta for sure, but it's something that's definitely top of my radar because it's a new challenge, and I love challenges. So I'm gonna, it's all about how we find out and join the dots between those people that have seen an ad either on Facebook, Google, whatever it is, and actually come into store and buy one of our products. How do we link that journey up?
I can't have one of the best kind of performance marketers on at my disposal to ask anything, so I might as well go for it here. How are AO tackling the kind of measurement challenge of linking all these channels together? Is there specific attribution models that are starting to come into play? How are AO managing that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to give too much away, but we definitely do like attribution. I think definitely any retailer should be moving away from that last click model. It's archaic. There's a lot more different points within the journey that we need to consider and give more weighting to. So I think we should definitely be thinking about what gets more weighting, why it gets more weighting, what point in the journey it sort of enters that consumer. And it doesn't have to be the first interaction or the last or even the middle. It can be a mix of them. But I think we should just be looking independently at each channel and then fitting that into the bigger picture, because it'll be different for everybody. Some people might not watch TV at all, some people might love it, and they might resonate well with ads, some might not. So it really depends on what the data is telling us, and we're always going to steer towards the best decision with the best data that we have.
And Chris, what three things would you recommend for people in similar positions to you working at brands and retailers as we kind of hopefully exit this pandemic situation and move into peak? What three things do you think will enable them and their brands to win?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think what's really important is coming out of this pandemic period, a lot's going to have changed, whether that be offline, online, demand for certain products, demand for certain services. So I think it's going to be really important, first and foremost, to take stock and really understand what that landscape looks like, looking at external market data to understand what the demand is like, who's competing, is there any new competitors, and what that space looks like. Second to that would then being how we react to that. So I think it's going to be really important to make those connections. If you can't do something in-house, go to an agency and see if they can do it, see if they can solve that problem, because there's, like we talked about before with the whole attribution piece, it can be a big problem for the people that maybe only have a team of 2 or 3 performance marketers within their business. So it's really understanding those big complex problems and then breaking it down into manageable chunks. And then thirdly is being able to carry the project through and being able to measure it up. So I think I've been involved in many projects in my time where we think about this new big shiny project, we deliver it, and then actually we didn't think about how we were going to measure it, or someone forgot to put the tracking on, or whatever it might be. So to be able to kind of define what success is from the start before we even do it, know where the end goal is important to being able to deliver that.
Good advice, very good advice. Okay, so if you would like to know any more about performance marketing or Summit as being change makers in retail, please do reach out to us, hello@summitmedia.com, and we'll be able to answer any of your questions. And I'm sure I can speak for Chris here and myself. By all means, reach out to us on LinkedIn and connect with us and ask any questions. Thanks.